Hi, I'm Kim Dellow and I'm a perfectionist. If you're a perfectionist too and it's kind of stopping you from making art, then I'm hoping that today, by sharing my sort of perfectionist tendencies and how I've kind of managed them and put them into check, then it's going to help you too. But if this isn't you, it's not something you struggle in, but you probably know someone who does struggle with it, then please do share this video with them and hopefully it will help them. So this is a subject that's been on my mind a lot recently, the whole perfectionist thing. It's been mentioned to me a few times now, just randomly by my nearest and dearest. And, you know, they're right. But it has also kind of been cropping up a lot in the comments that you guys have been leaving me as an issue that you struggle with or people you know struggle with. And if I can, I will try and help you out. And I think it's something that a lot of us creatives do have, and that is some of us, we are quite perfectionist, and it might be that perfectionism can help us to strive and get better at our art and keep moving forward. But sometimes it will also just completely make us stop, or worst scenario, not even start. So as we're talking about perfectionism and how to sort of overcome it, or at least sort of like manage it a little bit better, then, you know, why not grab some pens, maybe some pencils, even some paint, and let's do some doodling. I've got some speed drawn mixed media doodling to hopefully to inspire you and brighten up your day, and also because this is actually one of the ways that I manage my perfectionism, see if I can actually say it properly, in action. So this is something that I actually do on a regular basis, but more of that in a minute. So I've come to realise that my perfectionism is very much rooted in fear. So this is why it just can so totally easily stop me from doing things and get in my way. I mean, there's just so many ways that fear can stop us doing what we want to do, isn't there? And I'm sure you can think of a lot of examples when you come to do your own work where fear has stepped in to stop you. And being a perfectionist, I think, is one of those expressions of fear. So you kind of think, well, I'm not going to do this well, so I won't do it. There's that kind of thought process going on. Or you might be overcritical of something that you're doing, something like that. Nothing's ever good enough, or you're not good enough, any of these kind of things. I'm sure there's lots of different ways, and I think between us we could probably fill the whole of YouTube with lots of these kind of stories. But the trick for me, and something I've started to realise, that to get over this kind of fear, I need to be able to recognise it and acknowledge it. And then once I've done that, I've recognised that this is a behaviour that I'm doing and I've acknowledged that I'm doing it, then I can just sort of get on and do the thing that I want to do. Yeah, it doesn't sound very helpful, does it? It sounds like one of those quotes that you might get on Instagram. You know, recognise your fear, acknowledge it, and then do it anyway. I never find those helpful. So how do I do this? What do I do to do this? Well, some of it might require a bit of a mindset change for you. It depends on where you are in this. And you might have to start looking at your work in a different kind of way. So if you find yourself sort of coming to your piece of work and thinking, you know, I am going to do the best piece ever. I'm going to start this canvas, art journal card, whatever it is, and it's going to be awesome. And then I'm going to put it straight up on Instagram and it's going to be amazing. Then this is actually piling on a lot of pressure. And, you know, fear levels are reaching abort level quite quickly on this. So instead, you know, start thinking about what you're doing as just play. And instead of coming to it in that sort of, it's going to be great, it's going to be perfect, it's going to be amazing, come into it thinking, I'm just going to throw some paint around, see what happens, keep on adding paint or whatever the medium is that you're using, and, you know, learn a little bit more about this art thing and what it means to me. And if I don't like the results, or I mess up, it really doesn't matter. And if you can come to your pieces with more of that kind of mindset, then you are going to start letting go of that perfectionist side of you. You know, free yourself up a little bit more. See it less of ruining a page in your art journal or ruining a canvas, and more of, you know, moving that little bit step closer to increasing a skill level or learning a little bit more about yourself or more about your art, whatever it is. Hey, and another thing you can do is just go buy yourself some cheap surfaces. Use free surfaces, something like my flyer junk journals, which basically are just, flyers that I've picked up from various events that would otherwise end up in recycle. And yeah, I just use those as surfaces to paint on, to experiment with, and just mess up. It's fine. And if it's canvases that you're into, then buy a range of cheap bulk buy student ones to experiment with. And then, when you want to, you can scale up to use your better quality stuff when you need to. Now, there is a little bit of a caveat to this, because sometimes when you use low quality stuff, it can be a frustrating experience. And if you're finding that you are, more often than not, coming up to sort of like loggerheads, and it actually turns out to be technical rather than something inside you, then yeah, it's probably your products and you'll need to sort of like look into what you're using. But I think that's a subject for another video. So some practical things that I've done to sort of let go a little bit more each time and to ease up on myself are things like using warm-ups. Starting my session with just totally no pressure art on scrappy pieces of paper, old canvases, junk journals, whatever I've got to hand. And these are great exercises in moving on. It's a way of getting you to start working and a great way of getting you ready for doing maybe a bigger piece or that art journal page or that canvas. And key to it is doing it quickly, not worrying about what you're using or what you're doing, and just doing a lot of them. And you can literally spend 5-10 minutes at the beginning of a session just putting some marks onto a piece of paper. It's really that level, and it becomes almost mechanical, so that when you then go to your art journal page or your canvas, then you're much more in the place ready to put that mark down on that page. And I've actually got some warm-up exercises and creative exercises here on my channel, and also some mega quick ones on Patreon as well, so I'll link up to all of those. So I think another key aspect that's really helped me is to just do regular constant art and keep that no pressure sketchbook or no pressure art journal where I'm really not worried about how the pages will look. And I kind of think that we've got to a place, especially amongst us art journalers, that we kind of have lost the purpose a little bit of art journaling, maybe, where I don't know if social media has something to do with this and has fed into this, or we kind of do an art journal page and we think it has to be really good so we can put it up on social media. And it's sort of a self-defeating thing going on here. And there's just so much pressure to make a finished product that looks really great and shows off our amazing talents. But yeah, that's not the purpose of them at all. The whole purpose of them is to learn and to mess up and do ugly and do lots of ugly, because you kind of do need to do a lot of ugly. So I don't know, if you really have to, then get 2 art journals. Have one that's scrappy and one for best that you show to everybody, and make sure that you don't show the other one and it just stays as scrappy. Whatever it is that you need to do to help you. So I think there's some common themes coming out here, at least for me anyway. The overriding theme for this is that you're trying to train yourself to let go and be a little bit freer and not worry so much, so that perfectionist in you can just be a little bit quieter. And the way to do this is by just doing a lot of scrappy art and keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it, keep doing it. Okay, so this mixed media doodling that I've been doing whilst we've been chatting, this is a really super cheap journal, and the paper isn't that great, but I don't care. And I've just done several pages in one sitting. So this is one of the warm-up exercises that I will do, and I've literally grabbed what is closest to hand, so I've not had to think about it, and I've not had to sort of like, oh, should I do this, should I do that? I just put some marks down on a page and then move on. So we've done like the first couple of pages in the pencil, and then the crayon were literally just a few minutes. And then the paint pages were a little bit longer because I let things dry before moving on to the next bit. But the whole idea of this was to not worry and just get some marks down on the piece of paper. And I might come back to it later and see if there's anything there that's worth exploring further. But the real aim is just to do. And I'm not critiquing it. I'm not looking at it and going, oh, I didn't like this, I didn't like that. I'm just getting it done, moving on, getting it done, moving on, getting it done, moving on. And then I'm ready to maybe do a bigger piece. Or in this case, I actually didn't go on to do a bigger piece. Oh, actually, I'm lying. I did go on to do a bigger piece, and you'll be seeing that really soon. It wasn't actually a bigger piece. It was a piece in another book that was very similar. But that turned into a full journal page, so I will show you that later. Anyway. So I have some more art tips and exercises for you that can help in this playlist. So watch that next and I'll see you there.